A museum dedicated to a drug kingpin has been closed down. The prosecutor's office in Colombia has seized a property that was owned by Pablo Escobar. Since his death in 1993, his brother, Roberto de Jesus Escobar Gaviria, has been using the property as a museum dedicated to providing visitors with memories of the Medellin cartel.
On December 3, 1993, in Medellin, Colombia, a highly unusual event unfolded. It was not the burial of an ordinary man, but rather that of the most powerful drug lord in history. Opinions about him were sharply divided. Some hailed him as a modern-day Robin Hood, while others condemned him as a terrorist and drug lord. The sheer size of the crowd that gathered that day, approximately 25,000 people, necessitated the intervention of Colombian police and army forces to maintain order. But why did so many people attend the funeral of the world's most wanted criminal? What led to such chaos and sadness on that day? Don Pablo, after reigning as a drug kingpin for 16 years, found himself in the twilight of his life. Evading the Colombian and American governments, as well as rival cartels, he was pursued by many who sought to bring him down. Amid this, a significant dilemma arose. No one knew his exact whereabouts. Unbeknownst to him, the CIA had already tightened their grip on his family, anticipating his eventual misstep. On December 2, 1993, Pablo took a risk by calling his son. Perhaps realizing that his end was near, he desired to hear from his son one last time, inadvertently providing a clue to his location. The CIA seized the opportunity and traced him to Barrio Los Olivos in Medellin. The ensuing sequence of events involved a joint operation by the Colombian Army and American Special Forces. They neutralized his sole bodyguard and engaged in a fierce firefight with Pablo himself. As the radio echoed with chants of Viva Colombia from jubilant soldiers, the news of Escobar's demise spread like wildfire. Drug lord Pablo Escobar had been killed 16 months after his prison escape. The announcement triggered nationwide turmoil, awakening emotions across the country. News channels struggled to convey the gravity of the situation.
Army troops come and go, but most Colombians believe Pablo Escobar is long gone. If the government has a plan to find Pablo Escobar, it's a secret. But it's clear the manhunt is centered in the foothills of the Andes Mountains, where Escobar has sought refuge before and might be hiding again. It was here in the mid-1980s that Pablo Escobar built not only the world's foremost cocaine cartel, but also a base of support.
For so long as a formidable figure had been silenced, the reactions were a juxtaposition of sadness and admiration, reflecting a tangible sense of loss and suffering. The dynamics of the drug trade were poised for change, as various factions aimed to seize control. The Colombian government took custody of the Escobar family, and the streets of Colombia transformed. People surged to the scene of his death, no longer just bystanders, but devoted followers who hailed him as their Robin Hood. To the government, he was a ruthless cocaine baron, but to the hillside communities of Medellin, he remained a hero. He was both a criminal mastermind and a benefactor who, they believed, contributed millions to uplift the poor. The day of his funeral arrived, marked by a large attendance. Friends and family paid their final respects, some sorrowful over the loss of their Robin Hood, while others felt relief that his criminal reign had ended. Mourners donned t-shirts adorned with his image and signs bearing messages like "Pablo, you will always be with us," and "Long live Pablo Escobar" filled the air. The sheer size of the crowd was so overwhelming that Escobar's family struggled to open their car doors, ultimately missing the funeral. Pablo Escobar's death sent shockwaves not only through his family and friends, but also through the media landscape, where his notoriety had long been cultivated. His body was transported to a local morgue in Medellin, and his family found themselves ensnared in a web of fear, government pressure, and media attention. The funeral, held at the Jardines Montesacro Cemetery in Medellin 2 days after his death, attracted thousands who wished to bid their last farewells. Efforts to maintain order failed as the mourners' outrage prevailed, disrupting the proceedings. The urgency of the situation prevented the priest from fully conducting the burial rites. Overwhelmed by the sheer force of the crowd, Escobar's family faced a multitude of challenges, from the threat of enemies to government pressure and accusations from the media. It was a day marked by intensity, as reporters ambushed the family, and Escobar's son expressed the immense emotional toll they were enduring. The aftermath of Escobar's death reverberated through Colombia, prompting reflection on his legacy. Opinions about him remain divided, with some seeing him as a symbol of rebellion against corruption, while others view him as a source of destruction and violence. Colombians grapple with the weight of his legacy on their nation's identity, at times frustrated by the global attention that overshadows their country's diverse culture and history. As the years have passed, the debate continues regarding whether Pablo Escobar deserves the attention he still garners. His life and death remain a compelling topic of discussion, sparking questions about the fine line between folk hero and horror story. It's an issue that continues to provoke thought and invite dialogue. What is your perspective? Does Pablo Escobar merit the enduring attention he receives even today? Share your thoughts in the comments.